Namaste, angels. Thank you for joining, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. All the many things coming on the live previews with me, premieres with me, and all the fun things that we do together. Commenting on my social media and sharing that and everything too. I really appreciate it. I'm here to do the reading for Capricorn. It's a little overdue, at least by my own personal measure of when I wanted to do it. But the weirdest thing happened after I did the Sagittarius reading. I got the hiccups. I couldn't tell you before tonight when the last time I had the hiccups was. I mean, maybe when I was like a teenager or something. For all I remember, you know what I'm saying? It was so bizarre, but I couldn't do the reading like that. Obviously, I couldn't do any more readings like that. So I just had to chill, and watch TV for a change. Because those of you who are like on my Facebook page and stuff like that, you guys know I don't really like watch much TV and stuff. And when I do, I get all sorts of excited. I'd be mad late, like with a show, and you guys have to fill me in on what it's about. Anyway, Capricorn, this is your reading. Happy to do it for you. I like Capricorns. I admire your work ethic. I think it makes tons of sense that you guys are called the workhorses of the zodiac, because you really do put a lot of effort in, which may be actually why some of you are a little bit frustrated, but we'll get to that in a second. I want to start with the card that most represents you over the next 2 weeks. So sort of like a focal point or the overall theme, that is the Three of Wands in reverse. When Three of Wands in reverse is showing up, it is saying that you probably are not expecting things to necessarily go so great in the near future, but surprise, surprise, they're going to be going a lot better than you'd expect, and it's well deserved. And you may even be able to get some sort of well deserved break. Maybe you'll get some holiday time off that you weren't expecting or something like that. Or, like you'll be able to do less hours or something unexpected, and it'll just be like a weight off your shoulders. Like, really? I don't have to put all this extra effort in? Nope, you sure don't. And not for for bad reason. Like you've been sent home or something. It's good reason. It's well deserved. I want to be clear about that. When it's coming up in the context specifically having to do with work, you may actually be taking some steps soon to start your own business. Actually, so even if you continue your job, maybe you're going to be moonlighting or something like that. And again, you can expect good things to be happening at work. If you're staying at a company, maybe they're looking at you to promote you or give you greater responsibility. But that greater responsibility may not be as stressful to you as what you had been doing. And maybe what you had been doing was in part stressful because you weren't making what you felt you needed, to do the things you would like to do in this life. Or even, in a minimalist sense, like just basic needs. You felt like you were maybe living check to check or something. And I think that that's going to be coming to an end for a lot of you. What's going to be important is for you to like not be shy about how awesome you are. You want to put your talents out there and, let them show and let people recognize, so and so is really awesome at this. You might find yourself moved to another department, like when they discover that you have like this hidden to them talent that nobody at the office knew about. So don't be afraid to put your best foot forward. Let your talents, your skills, at the office be super obvious. And those of you who are considering starting your own business, even if you have to moonlight, I agree. I concur. The cards concur, and therefore I do, that it is an awesome time for you to be considering that and for you to be doing that. Difficulties in love that you may have been having, also coming to an end in the near future. And that saying, don't judge a book by its cover. That's what I'm trying to think of. Don't judge a book by its cover. Some of you may be doing that because perhaps the person that's interested in you, or in whom you're interested, might be a lot older than you, or older than you. Maybe like a different type. Maybe you've never been married before. They have. They may have children. You have none. That sort of thing. You also may have differences in terms of one is like super orderly, maybe even a neat freak, and one not so much. And you need to figure out how to come together in that regard and how to make things work in that regard. But I think a lot of you are going to be making things work, or ending the relationship in a way that is amicable and mutual for both. If you're ending it, it's because you both want to, and so that's why, like, the difficulties that you've been having would be coming to an end, because you might be ending the entire relationship. But I think more often than not, where there's been those difficulties, you're going to be finding a way to, how can we compromise with each other? How can we cooperate? How can we come together? How can I learn to live with some of your differences, and you learn to live with some of mine, and we make them work together? If you're into black and I'm into white, how do we come together and make stripes or gray? And if you can get that figured out, you can go on in a happy relationship. Even if one is, don't judge automatically just because there might be some differences that it's not going to work, or that difficulty is going to continue. Difficulty can come to an end if you guys, hash things out, work out your differences. Looking at the Knight of Wands that's in the position surrounding you, so maybe some of your energy, or it could be people with whom you work, or something going on at work, or a familial relationship, or friends, or something, anything surrounding you. This Knight of Wands. Now, the Knight of Wands for me can sometimes be about travel, or again, I was saying you might get an unexpected break that's not a negative break, that's a well-deserved break in the near future. But also with this Knight of Wands, he could be confirming that, but saying it won't be as near as I was thinking, because there may be delay. When the Knight of Wands shows up in reverse, his message is usually positive, just like when he's upright, but it can be indicative of delay and your need for patience. As can the Three of Wands, when it's upright, it's like this: your ships are about to come in. See little boats down there? They're about to come in, and this guy's about to, be able to move forward, because Wands are about movement and growth, and Threes are about expansion and growth and creativity and abundance and all those things too. So it's like soon you're going to have all that, but something's holding things up, a little bit delayed. That's something, although there's no sign of it here necessarily in the reading, that something may be Mercury retrograde, because it tends to delay things in general. And Mercury rules travel, transportation, communication. So if you're awaiting some sort of news so you can move forward, that could be held up too. Electronics, basically just about everything we use on a daily basis, Mercury rules and controls. That's why Mercury retrograde, as opposed to some of the other retrogrades, is the one that is like the most, nobody wants to see it. Nobody wants Mercury retrograde around, because it's involved in too much. It doesn't mean that Mercury is more powerful than the other planets or anything. It's just involved in our daily lives and basically controls most of our daily lives. Like, how can you make it through life unless you're somebody off the grid or something, without electronics, transportation, modes of transportation, travel, movement, communication? How can you make it through a day, just one day, without those things? It's difficult if you, again, unless you're like off the grid, or some of these religions that don't use technology and things like that. Speaking of that, religions with which you may have grown up and stuff, that was my first thought when I saw your overall energy of the Hangman in reverse. Of course, it can mean many things, and it has a meaning for, general and finances and work and health and love. But my first feeling about it was that it was connected to your spirituality. And when it shows up, it's like things from your past, which Mercury retrograde also tends to bring up. Things from your past, ideologies with which you were raised and stuff. All kinds of old rules that you used to follow, and maybe you didn't even know why. Fundamentalist ideas, or evangelical religions, and all these things. Not to speak against them, because I was raised like that too. Like going to church and stuff, and going to revival, like church all day, all kind of whatnot. But some of those things will be coming back to haunt you. If you're confused, if you're like struggling with some of your long-held beliefs. You know, you're trying to shed them. Your soul is trying to shed them, but maybe your 3D self is struggling with letting go of some of these things because you just believed them for so long, even if you didn't know why in some cases, or you were just doing it because your parents said to in some cases, whatever the case may be. This is about growth and expansion too, spiritual growth and expansion. So it might be a good time, similar to like a Hierophant kind of energy. It might be a good time for you to spend time with other people who are on a spiritual journey. Maybe people who align with you a little better than some of your other people that you would otherwise surround yourself with. And you want to, for this particular thing, you want to get with people who are of a similar mindset to your own, a similar vibration, or a higher vibration than your own, from whom you can learn something, and they can help you through this period. And I'm talking about how this may have something to do with Mercury retrograde. I had no idea before, but right behind the Hangman in reverse, upright, is the Knight of Swords. So this is a Gemini, Libra, Aquarius, or someone likened to those traits or attributes, and could be Mercury himself, right? Also upright behind the Knight of Swords, the Queen of Pentacles. So like, don't be neglectful of yourself. Like, you're very good at nurturing other people. Don't forget to nurture you. This is your energy. This is you, right? The Queen of Pentacles. Whether you're male or female, this can be representative of you, straight or gay or whatever. Queen, there's, they're not gender specific or sexuality specific, so it doesn't matter like that there's a queen here as opposed to maybe a king or a page or whatever you might otherwise resonate with. This can represent anybody, and it is a Capricorn, Virgo, or Taurus, or someone likened to those traits or attributes. And the queen, more so than the others, is this like motherly type of energy, and she takes care of other people and she makes time for everybody else. And the idea is that you gotta like, as it relates to your spirituality, you got to make time for you. Now, another thing that comes up with the Knight of Swords, whenever I see him, to me it says that we're awaiting a decision, or we have a decision to make. Awaiting a decision, or we have a decision to make. If we're awaiting a decision, like when we get that decision, we're going to take off quickly with some action, like a Knight of Swords. We're going to move quickly once we get that information. And so again, that may be connected to Mercury retrograde, that once there's movement in that regard, there's going to be movement here. We're going to know, all of a sudden, everything's going to change for us, and we're going to be able to make moves once that Mercury retrograde energy is removed, and whatever it bring with it, whatever delays and difficulties it brought with it. With the Six of Swords in reverse, sort of like I was saying before, you may be feeling like, you need to make more money, or you need more money. There's more stuff you want to do, or even to make, again, ends meet. You need more money. You may be like focusing on it quite a bit. There is work around for you. Again, you may need to look in some places that are less obvious for yourself, or like something other than what you would normally do. There's a lot of work coming, again, a lot of temporary work that's about to open up because of the holidays all over the country. And a lot of times these temporary things go into something permanent, or at least if it would allow you time to send out your resume, or again to start your own company, moonlighting on the side or something like that. Or I'm just feeling that there are people around you also, maybe a Knight of Wands, that can help you. So don't be afraid or too shy to like network and stuff too. Other than that, it's not a good time to be risky, is what and like gambling and stuff. Speaking of movement and possible even a break or a vacation, that could be what you're awaiting. Can you go on vacation with the holiday? A lot of different employees maybe want to leave at the same time, and you need a break. You may get a break next month, or after these 2 weeks, You may want it within after the 2 weeks, which should still be before Thanksgiving, right? I don't know if anybody cares about Thanksgiving. A lot of people don't even celebrate it. And my mother calls it misgivings because she's part Cherokee and part Catawba. So yeah, we always had a big meal on that day, but we call it misgivings, not Thanksgiving. We just take advantage of the opportunity for the family to spend time together because work is closed, you know. But if you don't get a chance to go anywhere over the next 2 weeks, I don't think that the opportunity is closed off and lost, because you've also got this card of movement here. So you've got all the Wands cards are cards of movement, especially the Knight of Wands. He can often indicate travel, vacation or something, as can the Six of Swords, which is here in your position of work and finance. It's in reverse, but it is here. And now your overall energy for the fortune teller cards is Chariot. So in the traditional tarot, Major Arcana card 7, the Chariot, is about movement, travel, transportation, modes of transportation, moving perhaps like to a new place, relocating. It can be both literal and metaphoric, but it is about movement. You may be having specifically movement in your areas of love and romance. As I said a moment ago, people who were experiencing difficulty in this area, there is going to be movement for you. That difficulty is coming to an end one way or another, and again, I think happily and amicably in either case. But if we put these together, movement in the area of love specifically. Love surrounds all of your connections. Move forward positively in all areas of life. So this is talking about movement. Move forward. And you can do that with this Chariot, and you can do that with the Six of Swords. On top of that, you have an overall energy of relationship with the Universal Love Oracle. This card, relationship, is about working on the relationship with yourself in the meantime. And that may help you to, again, come to a way to be able to compromise and negotiate and meet halfway with somebody that you're interested in, or that is interested in you, that has some differences with you, after you improve some things with yourself that I think, again, have to do with your spiritual path and your spiritual expansion that you're going through right now. Which may be what another thing these wands are about. They can be representative of like Jupiter, the ruler of Sagittarius, is also the planet and god of karma, growth, expansion. So it could also be a little bit of Jupiter energy that you're dealing with that's helping you to get through this. Again, I don't feel it's negative. I don't feel it's unwarranted. I don't feel that you reject it. I think it's all good, and it's stuff that you need and that you know you need, and it's going to help you to further yourself over the next 2 weeks. Right behind it, also upright, is answered prayer. So it's a very like star kind of card, Aquarius energy, which is about communication. All the air signs are about communication. So that's Aquarius, Gemini, Libra. We all are, especially maybe Gemini and Aquarius, maybe a little bit more so than Libra even. But you got the Aquarius energy here, which tends to come up with communication, particularly having to do with technology. Could be online dating and things that we're getting into. Maybe that's how we're meeting somebody that's older than us, or we're a lot older than them, or again, maybe one of us is married, or has been married rather, or is a divorcee, a widower, has children. So there are differences. Still, answered prayer in all areas of our life. Dreams coming true, wishes being granted. So things that we focused on, we successfully manifested them when answered prayer shows up. But this can also mean, again, meeting somebody with whom we're interested, with this star sitting here over her throat chakra, communicating with somebody new maybe. And with our past relationships, perhaps forgiveness. That may allow us to communicate with somebody new too, because we've healed something. Or again, in this love and relationship, there's going to be forgiveness, there's going to be compromise, there's going to be meeting of the minds. Perhaps after meditation and focus and, again, manifestation, focus on an intention that you want to hold dear and bring it forward to you. That can also help you heal the relationship with yourself. and maybe part of the spiritual path and spiritual growth that I was sensing with the Hangman. Miracles is also upright. Miracles can definitely be a result of prayer, intention, manifestation. Further to that, for the masculine who are watching, there's fear. And again, like I said, I just think that some of you may be not expecting things to get as good as I feel they're going to get very soon. And so maybe there is some fear. How am I going to make ends meet? What am I going to do with this love? You know, how are we going to get it together? Or if we can't get it together, how do I leave? And why is everything I want to do held up? Why do I feel like I'm stuck and I can't move? You know, so that could be, that could cause fear, and it could be the result of fear. Like, you know, so it's like, which came first, the chicken or the egg, as it relates to fear? The meditation and the working on yourself can help you to release the fear. For the feminine, it's more this Aquarius energy. It's like a combination of air, earth, and water, perhaps. Actually, the Hangman is a water sign. He's a Pisces. Represents the sign of Pisces and the planet Neptune. The Emperor, Aries, or perhaps other fire signs. He may be the reason for the Knight of Wands showing up. Aries, Sagittarius, Leo. There's 3 of Wands here, and this is air energy. Maybe this is the Aquarius. Because when we have more Aquarius, we have this child with, again, more strategically placed stars. One over her throat chakra, one over her third eye chakra, one over her crown chakra. So it's like she has something to say. But isn't that what I said I felt about Hangman? I had no idea this card was in the advice. So maybe what I was feeling about the spirituality, perhaps it's more so for those who resonate as a feminine archetype. Something could be coming up from your past, even from your childhood, that you're just deciding how to, that you're wanting to work through it, and maybe even shake it off. Maybe even allow, you know, yourself to shed some of these old belief systems with which you were raised. You're over them now. From the fortune teller cards to the masculine, Sun. This represents the sign of Sagittarius. Some of you may be Cuspians. Some of you, again, may be wanting to travel. Maybe fun in the sun. You want to go south or somewhere tropical or something rather than being here up north this time of year. It was decent today here in New York. But on Saturday, they said it might be like 20 degrees and there might snow. Like, you know, I'm in no mood. I'd like to be going toward the sun too. Otherwise, this is just about things, you know, getting better. The sun will shine and make everything better. Also, it could be about communication, right? Clarification, having things being illuminated. Oh, some light's been shown on that. I get it now. I'm having an epiphany. I'm coming to a greater understanding. I'm expanding. I'm evolving. I'm growing spiritually. Once I was blind, but now I see with the sun. But yeah, if it's not something that deep, then it's just about, you know, just things going well. Things are always better when the sun shows up. Open your heart to the enormous growth ahead. From Jupiter, growth, expansion. And lastly, yeah, that may be what it is. This is more fire. Let go of emotional upheaval and embrace the renewal of the present. So let go of that feeling that you're having that things are not going well, and embrace the fact that they absolutely will be going well very soon if they're not today. I hope that you guys have enjoyed your reading. I'll be back on the 18th with another one for you. Thank you again for joining, liking, sharing, subscribing, commenting. All of the support that you give me. If you're interested in a private reading or energy healing or anything that I do, the merchandise on my Society 6 page or my Teespring page, then the information, as well as my social media, so you guys can, you know, hook up with me and we can chat and be friends and stuff, will all be in the description box. Thanks again. Namaste.